Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It is week 29 of hashtag Run For Not From. And as you can see, I'm not running. I'm in a car. I'm being driven to a location in Hartwood Forest, where I'm then going to start running from there. Clearly, we're on freaking a mountainside. This week's topic is about the quality of the films and books that you consume and how they can fuel you. So I really hope that this is a topic that you will enjoy. But if it's not and it doesn't interest you, please do look back at the previous 28 weeks. I'm sure we can find a topic that interests you. So without further ado, let's get to the park and let's get running. And just point of reference, if you guys have been following this journey for a little while now, and I've got a few of you, Hartwood Forest is where I'm running. And those with a good memory will know that that was a place where I recently got lost. I was lost there for about 2.5 hours and I had to run around the whole forest to find where I was. So it's a rematch, you know, we're back. I'm not afraid of returning. It may have won the battle, but I'm going to win the war. So let's hope I don't get lost today.
Okay, so we are back again. So hashtag Run For Not From is about running for our problems and not from them. We don't talk about the time, the distance, or any PBs or anything like that. It's just a time for you to vent and me to talk, and just maybe for you to listen to some of the information I have and maybe any advice that I want to give, and just have sort of an open conversation with the world. I like to typically do it on the same day every week, so I do it on a Wednesday. And that's early in the morning, whether it's middle of the day, which we are now because we're about 10 to 2, or if it's in the evening, whenever I can get it in, it's on a Wednesday. So I really hope you enjoy. Please do make sure to subscribe to the channel, make sure to like, make sure to tag me at Nathan Shaw Life, and use my hashtags as well. Let's talk about why consumption. I'm talking about not about food, but about the content that we consume, how it shapes us. Because there's so much content out there. There's shows, there's reels, there's shorts, there's everything like that. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with being entertained, but there's so much empty content out there. And if you consume content that's just full of nothing, this faux content, then it will leave you drained rather than feeling you fueled. Those good books and films can be that fuel. They can feel energizing. A good film can make you think about hard topics like resilience, love, never giving up. And books, they can drop a line or a sentence that sticks with you for a lifetime. Because these stories, and it's the stories that I really want to focus on, these stories can be like seeds that you plant in your mind. You never know how they're going to grow, and you water them with your experiences, your hardships, and how you cope with things. And these seeds that have been planted can grow into amazing flowers, trees with roots so thick in your mind that you can never forget about them. Let's talk a little bit about my story and my background with books and movies and everything like that. I feel like if you've been following this channel for a little while, you'll sort of know my passion behind loving movies and loving stories and everything that fiction has to it. Because I went to drama school and I did a lot of watching of movies and plays and reading them and seeing them live. So I love that's almost the culture part of the movies and books. Now, as many of my family will know, I'm not a voracious reader. I've certainly got better as I've got older, but when I was younger, it didn't really appeal to me. I think in terms of excluding plays, in terms of fictional stories that I've read from cover to cover, maybe 10 at a push. I've read some biographies that I've really enjoyed because I love reading about people that I'm interested in, like Matthew McConaughey, like Jim Carrey, both actors, both because I love their movies. But however, this is what I wanted to go on to. I have loved film for so long. There was a time in my life when I was probably watching a new movie every other day. whether that be in the cinema, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus. I mean, don't think Disney Plus was out then when I was doing this. And there would often be new films. Of course, there'd be some rewatches in there, but in all honesty, probably about 5 new films a week. And I was probably watching other films which were replays that I really, really enjoyed. In fact, a lot of my friends would like to call me the walking IMDb, because I've always been good at dates of films, the years they came out, the actors in them, the actresses in them, and then correlations to what they've been in previously and things that they've got upcoming projects, just because I've taken such an interest in it. And it's soaked in over time. I haven't consciously learned it, but you know, when you watch a film, you wait to see the cast at the end, and eventually it sinks in. And you really get to understand what bodies of work the people have been doing, particularly if they're people you're interested in. And in terms of sort of 3 films or 3 areas of film that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about It's a Wonderful Life, I'm going to talk about The Help, and then I'm going to talk about the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe and DC, and so all those Batman, Superman, Iron Man, Captain America, and everything like that, and just sort of wage my opinion on films of that nature. It's a Wonderful Life. It's a film that I've probably watched every Christmas for the last 15, 16 years, quite possibly. It was the first black and white film that I ever saw as well, which used to be a point of contention for me, but now it doesn't seem to bother me as I've gotten older. And I wanted to speak about this film, mainly because it's a great film, firstly, but the power of rewatching something that has such high quality as it does. Because every single time I've watched it, I've noticed something different. I've looked at it from a different perspective. As I've certainly got older and more mature, hopefully, a different head has sort of come on me. When I've looked at it as a first, I thought, I'm looking at it as this boy watching his father, and so I'm looking from the point of view of the son. And as I'm getting older, I then start relating with him when he's a young man more, because it follows his whole life. And then you start relating to him as a young man. And I'm sure as I continue to watch it, and if I become a father, I'll start watching it from that point of view. And certainly that's the way that my dad sees it. And now I've even noticed with my father, he starts looking at it from the granddad's point of view. He's looking at the dad of the main character and how that seems to soak in, which I find very, very interesting. The next film I want to mention is a film called The Help. I think it came out in about 2012, 2013. It's got Viola Davis, Octavia Spencer, Bryce Dallas Howard, Emma Stone, to name a few. I think even Octavia Spencer got an Oscar nomination, maybe even a win. I'll need to fact check that at the end. But funnily enough, I went to see this film with my family when I was on holiday, I believe in Canada. And firstly, it seemed a bit weird going to a cinema on holiday. We were there for 3 weeks. We were looking for stuff to do. And it's not typically a film that a 13-year-old or 12-year-old I was would go into, for certain. But it was the first time ever that I cried in a cinema about a film. I was so tremendously moved by what I saw that it stuck with me forever and really set me on a path of watching really interesting films that challenge. Certainly was a challenging film. It's all about racism and acceptance and questioning morality, really, and about really standing up for potentially the system and planting your roots and telling the world to move, not let the world move you. And it really set me on a path of enlightenment, in all honesty, of watching things that really challenged. I was thinking about it mainly for the whole rest of the holiday. I was probably really annoying to be around because I'd probably keep talking about it, but it affected me so massively. And was maybe part of the reason why I wanted to study drama and acting, because I didn't know that films could really be like this. Something that could be so emotionally thought-provoking. And I want to share that experience with others. I want others to know that there is more to films than just the snide laugh and the massive action sequence. We are really in the forest now. This is the sort of places where you do get lost here. So I'm keeping my wits about me. And the final sort of film, it's not even a film, it's a series, it's a accumulation of films I want to talk about, is the superhero film genre. It's massively highlighted at the moment because it's so popular. Funnily enough, I think it's on a downward trajectory of popularity. I think it's dying out, and I wouldn't be surprised in the next sort of 5 years if we didn't see superhero films anymore, because it's had its boom and now it's busting. It's like most things in life, they have their popularity. It's like fashion, it will eventually come back around again, but right now I think it's on a really poor run of form. So there might not be many superhero films coming up in the future if they don't keep returning the money. But however, I'm going to talk about them anyway because they have their time and their place. I know Quentin Tarantino spoke about it, about the death of the movie star, and you go and see Captain America rather than Chris Evans, etc. And I do massively agree with that. However, the thing that I think is overlooked is how cinemas, so the business of the cinemas, was dying. People were not buying tickets to the cinema because streaming platforms had just killed them, man. But nothing has got people rallied up like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I remember queuing up at midnight to watch Avengers Endgame. At midnight, and we couldn't get in. It was that popular. We went to 3 different cinemas, you couldn't get in. And nothing has done that in a long, long time. And cinemas need that. And cinemas are so important because you're seeing the pop-up of the boutique cinema, and we can't let it go to where theatre has got to, where it becomes only for the upper class and middle class. Theatre is expensive, it's really hard to get into, the tickets are ridiculous, but we can't let that happen with cinema as well. We need to keep those ticket prices low, and we need to make sure everyone can go view it, because we're never going to have the next generation of creators and directors and actors and actresses if we just let the middle class and upper class get to it. And I know I'm one of the middle class, so I'm never going to really be out of pocket, but we need to make sure everyone can get in to view what they need to view. So that is where I see the importance of these superhero films, and I'm going to go on to it later on, but not everything has to be heavy. You can just find joy in being entertained, a little laugh, a bit of awe, a bit of shock, a bit of horror. That's fine. It doesn't all have to be emotionally draining and heavy, because if you keep doing that, eventually your cup will fill up and you'll start to have spillover, and that's not what we want. So let's talk about my 5 little tips and tricks that you can do to start consuming better content right here and now, and they're really quick little changes. And the first thing is start choosing with intention. Start looking into things. Maybe you have a person of interest that you're really enjoying at the moment and you want to see their other bodies of work. Do the research. I'm sure you've got the subscription platforms, everyone's got them, of the Netflix, the Primes, the Disney Pluses, whatever it may be, and just consume something. Look with intent and check to see if it's something that's going to really teach you something or grow you. Number 2, mix the learning with enjoyment, because I've said it so many times, there's nothing wrong with having a laugh and being shock and awe with an action sequence, but if that's all you ever consume, it's going to leave you very one-sided and not open to that growth factor, and you'll miss out on some amazing content that you deserve to watch. Number 3, you're going to reflect afterwards. You're not just going to switch it off, you're not going to close the book and not think about it. This one's a really easy one to do because most people do it subconsciously. They're so profoundly opened up by what they've just witnessed, if they've really sort of like opened up to it themselves, if they come in with an open mind, and they do just sort of start thinking about it, they can't start correlating it to their day, to maybe people that they have in their life. So don't just close off your mind, think about it. Run through the book or the film in your head one more time. Number 4, share what you learn. That can be on social media, that can be with your friends, your family. Talk about things, particularly if they're new TV shows and new films, because they'll be watching them anyway. And it's a lovely topic of conversation to have with people. And the 5th one is you're going to curate your library. So what does that mean? You're going to start just cataloging what you watch. This can be really easily said than done, because you just put it on your phone, a little notes page of books and films that you've watched and read, maybe with a sentence or a line to say what you felt about it, how you felt. Maybe with a sentence or a line of how it made you feel when you watched it. It can be important, so date it as well, because this is also just interesting things for the future. I do think that people aren't diarizing or writing things down anymore. Yes, it's on the cloud. Yes, it's on your phones, on shared drives, whatever the next big thing will be. But there's something special about cataloging it, maybe even written down, or a way that people can look at it in the future, or yourself in the future and go, wow, that's how I really felt back then. Hello, so I'm halfway through hashtag Run For Not From, and unfortunately I'm gonna have to call the run there. I'm gonna keep talking about the topic. It'll be more talking to camera, unfortunately. My right knee is not playing ball today. It happens every so often. I did a particularly difficult leg session yesterday, and it feels like a bit of IT band. I need to stretch out, and every step was starting to feel worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So listen to your body is sort of the meaning behind this. If it's not working out, stop. You know, if it's getting worse, I think my rule of thumb with pain is if it's introduced in a spark like a knife, something's wrong. If it sort of increases and then plateaus, I think you can work through the pain. And that's what I was doing there for the last sort of 10-20 minutes. I was working through it, but it stopped plateauing and then it increased. It was keep getting worse, keep getting worse, keep getting worse. And that's again when you stop. So if it's sharp, bam, immediate, stop. If it's an increase of pain that's on an upward trajectory and it's not seeming to slow down or stop, stop again. If the pain plateaus, I think you can carry through. And a lot of the times I do. But today I don't want to wake up tomorrow thinking I've pulled something or it's just not worth it. So I'll carry on the video from a stationary position, unfortunately. So I've hijacked Helena's rental of this lovely little yoga space because she was the one who drove me, obviously. So it's time for the quick fire run reflections. This is the newest segment of my sort of hashtag Run For Not From, and it's about 4 questions. I mean, today it's 3. That are things that I want you to think about. Maybe you want to pause the video. Maybe you want to just write them down. I don't know. But just think about them reflectively and don't ask your friends and family because it's all on you. And first question is, when was the last time... Question number 1. When was the last time you consumed a good book or film that really made you reflect? Question number 2, am I consuming content that fuels me or drains me? Question number 3, and this one is definitely a question from my parents to me, and that would be, what would my life look like if I read more and watched less? Oh, wow, I forgot to finish the end of this video. I'm not gonna lie, this day has turned into a bit of a mad one. So I technically had the day off from work, but I had to go in for a work emergency for about an hour then because I was the only person qualified to do it. It happens, that I understand, but that means I forgot to film the end bit. So I'm washed, I'm showered, it's late in the evening now. It's been a couple of hours since I gave up on my run. So I've got to finish it and finish it strong. So we've got time for the Run For Not From connection, and we've got time for the quote of the week as well. This week's connection is: we don't run from distractions, negativity, or wasted time. We run for meaningful content, inspiration, and perspective. I would like to thank you so much for watching. You may be wondering why I'm sat in a car. I'm waiting to pick up my partner Helena from work because I had to take the car for the emergency that I had at my work. These things sort of happen. And I remember a few weeks ago I said that I will have some very exciting news that I'd be able to announce, but I couldn't yet because some parties that didn't know yet needed to find out. I'm happy to say that everyone who needs to know knows now, and next week on hashtag Run For Not From week 30 I will be announcing my big surprise for the year of 2026, the year of Nathan Shaw. I am manifesting it right here, right now. But as always, please do like this video, subscribe to the channel, please do leave comments, questions and anything like that. I'm more than happy to answer those, and we do have enough time for the quote of the week. And this week it is from an author called Harper Lee. Now she is the author of To Kill a Mockingbird. Some would say a one-hit wonder in some ways. Harper Lee has written other books, but by far and away To Kill a Mockingbird is the standout performance and probably the highlight of their career. And the quote goes as this: "Until I feared I would lose it, I did not love to read. One does not love breathing." Let me know what you think.